Hey guys. So this one time Jesus is being challenged by the Pharisees, and they're challenging him on who he is, who he says he is. Like, who do you think you are? We know you. We see who you are. You are clearly not who you claim to be. And Jesus responds, he says, you guys have set yourselves up as judges, and you judge people by their outward appearances. But I don't do that. I judge by what is true. And I'm not alone in this, because me and God see this the same way. So what does Jesus mean by this? I think a lot of us hear the term like judging by outward appearances, and we think clothing, we think appearance, we think all these other stuff. But what did Jesus actually mean by this? Well, fortunately, Jesus illustrated it perfectly just a couple verses earlier, where once again the Pharisees are coming to challenge and test him. Jesus is standing there with his disciples, and the Pharisees come before him with a woman who is caught in adultery, and they're like, hey, we have found this woman. We have caught her in adultery. And according to the law, she deserves to be killed for this. What do you say we should do? So this is a test for Jesus. They want to see if he follows the law. They want to see where he stands on these things. Prove to us who you are. And Jesus, he just responds by kneeling down on the ground, and he just starts drawing in the ground. So try this. The next time somebody challenges you on something, is trying to bait you into an argument, just start doodling. That's what Jesus did. Can you imagine how infuriating that must have been for the Pharisees? They're trying to get him. They're trying to incite him to come and get into this argument. And he's just like, yeah, sure, whatever. Love it. Absolutely love it. So he's just writing on the ground, and they keep bombarding him with these questions. What do you think we should do? Clearly we should kill her. What do you say we should do? So he finally looks up and says, all right, fine. For those of you who've never made a mistake, those of you who don't have sin, go for it. You start throwing stones at her first. And they start looking around at each other. And it says the older ones leave first, because typically the older ones are more aware of their own stuff, the stuff they have going on. And slowly, one by one, they walk away. Well, Jesus returns to his drawing in the dirt. And once all of the Pharisees have left, he looks up at the woman and says, hey, who's here to condemn you? And she's like, there's no one left. And he says, well, then neither do I condemn you. And he says, now go and be free of your life of sin. So what's Jesus showing here? This woman's outward appearance was that of a cheater, of an adulterer, of someone who made mistakes. A lot of us think of outward appearance, like I said, as clothing, how we look, whether we're short or tall, our appearance. But honestly, the thing that most of us are defined by in our outward appearance is our worst mistake. How we failed, how we see ourselves, the way we identify ourselves. A lot of us have been defined by our worst moments. Other people judge us by our worst moments. And in this moment, Jesus, when this woman was caught and defined by her worst moment, he says to her, I don't condemn you. Now you can go and be free from your sin. So many of us are defined by our mistakes, but defined by our worst sin. But what Jesus knows to be true, what Jesus judges as truth, is who we really are. Not our worst mistake, not our worst moment, not the way other people try to define us by these things we've done or where we came from or who our parents are. He judges what's true, is that we are valuable, that we have purpose, that we are meant for freedom, that our sins, our mistakes do not define us, that we actually have the ability to stand up and walk away from those sins, those mistakes, those things that other people try and define us with, those things that we define ourselves with, and we can walk away from that. What Jesus judges as truth is that we are valuable, we have purpose, that our worst mistakes are not who we are, and he condemns none of us for it. Who we are is defined by the fact that he says you are valuable, you are loved, and you can walk away